This is David. He's a Czech creator living in Los Angeles with almost 100,000 subscribers. But over the past few months, viewership has dropped. And he's stressed because along with that, revenue, growth, and probably some of his hair. So we took a peek in his creator company and diagnosed problems with his YouTube strategy that almost every channel is making. We're Mike and Maddie. We've done over 100 million views. We've worked with some of the top brands and businesses to help them scale their YouTube channel. And you're watching the Creator Checkup. What is your channel about?
So my main channel is just my name, David Robick, not Dobrik.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So I do videos about life in America. And like I said, I moved here 10 years ago. When I first saw what the US is like for the first time I landed here, I land at SFO and I ride the bus to the city and I see this ginormous guy. It was the biggest guy I've ever seen in my life. And things like that kept on happening every single day. And obviously I had to navigate life in the US, getting a job, finding a place to live, and struggling through all the different things you have to do as an immigrant. And so I started to documenting it on videos, and that's what the channel is about.
So the channel right now is at, as of this recording here, we're at 94.4K subscribers.
Yeah.
And it's 148 videos.
There.
Almost at the 100K.
Server play button.
Yeah.
Started posting 7 years ago.
There you go. That's longer than I thought. I was gonna say 6, but yeah, time flies. And at the beginning, it was very much how to get your visas to the U.S. and very practical things and showing, this is how you find an apartment, this is the type of things you have to go through. And then now it's a lot more of also just lifestyle. So I bring on different guests on my channel as well that have achieved something here, just to kind of inspire more people that live back in the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Eastern Europe.
What is the main concern with the channel?
For the majority of this year, I've had very strong views. Every video I posted, I was hitting 100,000 views or more. I always had more views than I had subscribers. That's how I knew I was doing well, just because more people are watching that are subscribed, which to me is a very good signal that I'm doing something right. However, the last, I'd say 2 months, maybe 3 months, I've had declining views on a per video basis. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it's also the time frame when I started doing weekly uploads as opposed to bi-weekly or one in every 10 days, so 3 a month, which I was kind of doing before. So yeah, the last 10, 12, 15 videos are doing a lot less views now, averaging maybe 40,000 views as opposed to the 100, 120, 150, 200,000 views that I was getting for a big part of the year.
It sounds like you could still be getting the same amount of views per month, though.
It's actually not the case. So I was, for the majority, most months I was averaging 500,000 views per month. And now I'm down to about 300, even though I'm uploading more videos. And I think that maybe for the type of content I do and for my audience, a weekly upload schedule is too frequent. Maybe they're kind of burnt out and topics get repetitive. Maybe the topics were not selected in a thoughtful way, or they were just not as interesting. It could be a whole area of reasons.
I think something interesting is that, so it's a classic quality versus quantity debate, right? I think a lot of times when people get started, they make the mistake of going over here first, over the quality side, and they take way too long to make a video. And then they post the video and they get a lot of traction and stuff. And so they the goal for beginners is actually over here. Yeah. But you're not a beginner anymore. I don't think so. 7 years is quite a bit of time. You built an audience. You're almost 100K. At that point, you could start to move back towards the quality side of things.
Is that what you generally see as the rhythm within channels that are more mature, that have been doing it for a number of years, got some traction? They move towards the quality as opposed to quantity.
What I was going to try to say is it's kind of like a pendulum. You have to kind of know how your channel is going in your audience. There's a certain point when the quality is good, but they're okay, they want more content. Then you go to the quantity side. And then if there's too much quantity, you're saying the quality's kind of dropped, then you have to go back to the quality side. It's you have to kind of find that balance of what your channel needs and what it doesn't need. So when you're saying that your views have gone down, I think what you might be noticing is the quality, maybe not the videos, but the ideas might have gone down.
Yeah.
And so when you doubled the cadence of the content you put out, where did those ideas come from?
So also for context, I'm working a 9 to 5. So I still have to work a full-time job to cover my costs. And this is something I literally do on weekends and on days I am allowed to take off, essentially. I went up with the cadence to honestly, to ride the high RPM season before the holidays, like I just wanted
Yeah,
to put out more content, make more AdSense revenue, because this is the time of year to make AdSense revenue. But yeah, I think the quality of the ideas probably went down just because the cadence went up and I needed to hustle harder to just come up with videos and film them quickly. And when, for example, I would do a trip to, let's say, Mexico, instead of doing one longer video, I would film 2 videos to make sure I get at least 2 videos out of that trip. Overall, the 2 or 1 video could have gotten more views than the 3 videos that I actually ended up doing.
When you doubled your quantity, did you also double the amount of time you're spending in the whole process?
I know.
Okay.
I don't think so. So I did hire 2 editors this year, and that's helped me tremendously. And so that's one of the reasons why I was able to ramp up the cadence. But having said that, I don't think I've spent the same amount of time per video given the quantity. I think it's the contrary. I've spent less time per video as I kind of create a system of like, okay, now I'm filming, so let's do it, and then let's upload it, let's give notes to the editor, get the first draft, and then kind of post it as soon as possible. But with the side effects, unintended side effects of dropping views.
I think we might have identified one problem then. Yes, like I think quantity is good, but like if you make the mistake of like going mass volume and quantity before you can consistently know that you can get good quality out of it, then all your videos just go down in quality. For example, like our channel, like we have been able to double our cadence because we built the infrastructure on the back end to support that before we'd made that pivot. So it is hiring the editors, but also like on the front end side, like we have pre-production, and then there's the edit itself. You got people to help you here in the video editing, but on the front side, title, thumbnails, ideas. And as you know, for YouTube, those are the most important pieces of YouTube, right?
I am the worst, the worst when it comes to packaging. Titles, thumbnails, like I do them myself. Everybody tells you like you have to come up with the title,
the thumbnail.
By the way, not just one title,
multiple,
but like 100 titles for that video, and then kind of select the top 3 that you can then ABC test. Do it before you actually start filming, right? And then maybe even plan out what the thumbnail will look like before you start filming, so that you can set yourself up for that thumbnail, for that package.
Yeah.
I literally never ever do that.
But now if you have twice as much of it to do,
Yeah.
you need to spend half as much time on each one of those. So like you hired someone over here to do this.
Yeah.
But this side, you doubled the cadence, but you didn't have someone help you over here.
No, I mean it's just me on a usually Friday night, because it goes live. It goes live 11 p.m. Overall, I think that the topics have been just less interesting.
Yeah. The first way was trending ideas.
Or current events.
Were there interesting current events recently when your videos started getting less views?
There was nothing major going on.
Nothing major. Okay.
So like,
Maybe that's why.
I'll be totally open. The biggest banger I've had this year was when the LA fires were happening. Like that was a big topic.
There you
It
go.
was a huge topic. Everybody wanted to see what it looks like, and nothing like that has happened. And I can't rely on that, obviously.
We all know the quality of the video depends on the quality of the idea.
Right.
Like the 80-20 of the whole video is the idea. So I think that just putting the pressure on yourself to get more ideas out there, more videos out there, just meant the idea quality went down.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like trying to find something to put out there for the sake of putting it out there.
Totally. Like
It sounds like it's all inspiration based. This is something that we talk a lot about in our program is there's inspiration based ideation, and then there's analytical based ideation, where you're actually looking at numbers. Outliers is a common way to do it.
And to that point, I've had success in the past of looking at outliers on other people's channels and kind of recreating that for my audience and for my niche. I've also had success of recreating my own outliers in the past.
Yeah.
Right. So I've had like,
Nice.
I have a video series that's called like The Biggest Scam on Americans. Was the first one was about credit cards. So then I recreated this topic and created another video that was about the healthcare system. And that popped as well. It's this one, 272,000 views, just was a 1 of 10, like did really well compared to the videos around.
Yeah. It sounds kind of obvious, but like, why don't we just do more of that?
Fair. And this was 6 months ago. The first one was a year ago.
Right.
So now's about the time to do another one, which I was thinking like the education system and how you get into debt by going to university here. Like we have free
That would be
higher education.
That'd be a banger.
That
would kill. We talked to a lot of channels, and when they hit the slump of like, oh, my channel is not doing as good view-wise, or like things aren't going well, it's pretty funny. But like more than half of them all the time just stopped doing what was working before.
Yeah.
Is that, you think that's kind of...
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, for sure. Like if you look at my last, so this is Mexico. I went and talked about, is Mexico really as dangerous as they say? Is this video 10 out of 10? This is my friend who visited me from Slovakia and he left the US. So the topic is like, he used to live here and then he left. Why? You know, it's not
It
that
seems like-
patchy, you know, like if you compare it to credit cards.
I would probably explain that as topics that are high in demand for your audience. These are things that they actually want to learn about. Whereas if you're talking about why did this random guy come here and then leave, like that's not something that's in demand.
It's again, I needed another video. My friend was visiting and I was like, okay, let's go to San Diego. Let's go to like freaking Tijuana. Let's film like the day, essentially like a vlog.
Right.
Nothing else. So it doesn't have a strong topic. So totally, you're spot on.
We'll go through like, this is how we actually think about, or this is how I think about ideation for your channel. Like everyone always starts by like, look for outliers, like look for stuff that's working for these big creators and stuff like that. The first thing you need to look at is look inside your own channel. You've been making a lot of videos. A couple of these videos, like the ones you identified, the credit card one, they're working.
Yeah.
They're really, so the smartest thing you can do is to just make similar ones to this one, right? And you did that. You got a couple to pop, right?
It showed. Yeah, it showed.
You got a couple to pop. Maybe some of them didn't, you know, like you probably have a few that didn't do that.
For that specific series, I only did those two and they both did well.
Amazing. So if I was you, and if we were to help you plan out the next content that might become a 1 out of 10, I think that education system one, you talked about the grades one, or the student debt one, that's a banger. Like, dude, let me help you work on that one, honestly. I feel like that would crush.
Yeah,
That's right up our alley.
That's
What
great.
we talk about.
Yeah, wait, do you guys have student debt or no?
I know people who have a lot of
I mean, we went to medical school.
Yeah, exactly. It's expensive, right?
This is for creators who are more established, obviously, because if you're a brand new channel, you don't have anything, you don't have any data to look at.
Yeah.
But the first thing is like, if your views are going down and you're kind of in a slump, you have to look inside like what videos did your channel actually grow for? And then if the more recent ones have signal, like the one you said like 6 months ago is pretty recent, just do more of that.
Yeah.
You know, and so if there, you can, we call this like remixing your ideas, I guess.
Evolving
Your ideas into something similar. So the more specific way to do that, obviously like look at this video and why did it do well? The topic is one thing, right? But was there like a format that was popular in it? Like, was there a style and structure the video you did? Was there a...
Good question. It's a slightly different format to my usual videos too.
Okay. What was it?
It's more, so it's more structured in the sense that I know exactly what I need to cover, and I kind of have that in front of me as I film the video. I get more to the point, and I know what information I want to convey to the audience.
Gotcha. So there's a bit more prep work
Yes,
that goes into it.
research.
exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
That's where that quality stuff comes back in. Well,
So the more prep work actually
It actually
gives you
matters.
better outcomes.
yeah.
Shit.
Thinking about the idea a little
I
bit
hate to
more.
hear that.
Yeah. So this is step one. Definitely look inside and find what videos are popping or have popped.
Yeah.
Study the format, study the structure. Why, like, look in the comments, see like what are people saying about it.
Yeah.
And then you want to plan the next one around that.
By the way, this was an outlier for a channel that does content about Australia.
Okay.
And it's literally like the same title and the same thumbnail. Like, it's literally what the...
But people can't understand the language.
They don't know.
No, dude. And I swear to God, I published this. It pops 1 of 10. Okay, it does well. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then like 2 days later, I get an Instagram message from the girl that filmed that video, and she's like, "Oh, okay, stealing my ideas." I'm like, "Come on, man,
It's YouTube.
Yeah, it's YouTube. Come on."
Yeah,
That's a
so
compliment.
funny.
Yeah, it is.
Talking about
Literally, it's a compliment. Like you came
Yeah.
up with a great video, and I took it and did it for my audience.
That's one method of ideation. Is to find ideas that worked for other people who are doing country perspectives into the US.
Yeah.
This is kind of what brings us to part 2 of the strategy. After you look inside, you have the ideas that you want to pursue. Doesn't mean you should just make them yet. Now we want to move on to the next one, which is going to look outside now and see, has anyone else made a similar video to this one that you are thinking about already?
Okay.
You know? And so if there is the US, let's just say that we're doing the...
Education system.
Is there outliers that are also about the US education system? Remember you said like you want to come up with like 100 titles or something like that?
Yeah.
You have pretty good options for what titles and thumbnails could be for this concept here. So you're validating not just inside, your audience already likes this. Now let's find proof that it's not even your audience, but this is how you can also expand your audience
Yeah.
to broaden it to people who might not be from Czech. Well, I mean, it's going to be in Czech, so I guess you're only going to.
Yeah.
But like this is validating that this idea hits with a lot of different people.
Okay.
And so you're kind of like coming from two angles. What's working inside and then what's working outside, and then can we just use all of it to make one beautiful package here?
Use kind of part of the titles that I've already been using, but also discover the topics that have popped on other people's channels.
Exactly. I mean, and we have ABC testing now on YouTube. So maybe you test what your similar title you had and then test one with a different one
Yeah.
and then see which one wins. And if yours wins, great. Test it with another one, test it with another one.
Do you always recommend doing the ABC test both for thumbnails and titles on each new video?
This is kind of a juicy hot take-ish as well. I would not recommend everybody do that
Okay.
unless you know exactly why you're doing that.
So I do it on every video.
Yeah. I think you should do A/B testing, but whether you should test both titles and thumbnails, so 6 different ones at the same time, really depends on the reason for why you're doing that.
My thinking is just testing out different angles to the video, and it is a bit random.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know if maybe this thumbnail could have worked better with this title that I'm not testing
Exactly.
it against.
This is what we learned in medicine. Like when you want to know if a drug worked or not,
Yeah.
you should change one variable at a time to make sure you know why the thing is working.
It's correlation, not causation,
Yeah.
basically.
So
So you'd rather test one title and 3 thumbnails for that title to see like what picture works best, what thumbnail works best.
that would be the simplest way to know exactly if it's the title or the thumbnail that's making the difference. Going back to this example right here, if they found another video out, like an outlier video about the education system that had this like very fear-mongery, like the end of the world, like America's fucked angle, like title, thumbnail, packaging, then that could be one of the angles you do, right?
Okay.
But if you're trying to bring in that like negativity angle with like your thumbnail that doesn't really match, then it's like,
I see.
what are we actually testing? Are we
Yeah.
testing the angle? Are we testing the title?
Yeah.
And so you have to be very intentional if you are going to do multiple different angle testing
Got it.
to know how that works. So I would definitely not recommend that unless you have like someone who is solely on quality control for ideas. Like this is the only thing they do for your
Like a
channel.
staff member.
Maybe a creative director or a idea specialist. This is why people pay. I think I interviewed Majid, this other strategist who worked on Mr. Beast's team. He was one of 5 ideation people just on Mr. Beast's channel.
That's crazy.
Full time, 5 people. Just all they do is just think about ideas.
What a job, huh? It's like sitting there all day. What
Yeah,
are we
they're just
gonna
like, what are we
film
gonna do?
next?
Yeah, that's how much emphasis Beast puts on like the idea part, and so
Totally.
it's really difficult if to be able to effectively do 3 different angles for your own video.
Yeah.
If you're doing twice a week or doubling your cadence, you're probably better off just doing what Mike was talking about, just like one test at a time.
So one test at a time, meaning just one title, 3 thumbnails, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like that.
One variable at a time.
One variable like that. You can run multiple tests in a row. Like after the title one finishes, move to the thumbnail test. But doing both at the same time, you're not going to know which one.
Right.
You're not going to know why which one's winning.
Maybe test it after a day or 2 or something, or just depends on how it's doing.
Yeah. When you first upload a video, your core, like your most loyal fans, the ones that will watch whatever you put up,
Yeah.
they're going to click on it first.
Yeah.
So if they're going to watch whatever you put up, then they're going to kind of skew your results. So I would say like the first 24 to 48 hours, it's not really that great of data anyway.
Because it's the same people kind of watching every video.
Yeah. So you might want to run it a little longer.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
But if you are spending too much time coming up with titles and thumbnail, or coming up with different concepts to A/B test, that might also not be worth your time.
Right.
Like let's say all that time you spent coming up with 2 more variations to test, you could have spent making another video.
Exactly. Make another video. That's kind of my philosophy is like once you post it, I look at the data for maybe 24 hours, but then I kind of forget about it and I'm on to the next one.
Well, yeah, think about the math, right? Like Mr. Beast, if he were to do like all these A/B tests, he would improve his CTR by 2%, let's say. 2% for him is tens of millions of views.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot of views. Yeah.
2% for someone who's getting 20K views, probably not worth it.
Yeah.
Right? That's a whole nother time. You can spend all that time making another video to get way more views.
Yeah. I guess, for me, it's also like a philosophical question a little bit, because I know that you pointed out like this negative angle. Like I know that works the best. Like I know for a fact I've seen it on my channel.
Yeah.
When I do America's Doomed type of video, it's going to do better than America's Doing Great
Yeah.
Make America great video. Like I also don't want all my videos to be like super negative, because then I'll be in this niche of people who hate America, and like although I might be getting a lot of views, it's not gonna bring me pleasure to spread negativity in this world. Like I'd rather focus on some of the more positive topics too, which perform worse.
What are you optimizing for at that point? I guess?
And the other thing that works really well is when something goes terribly wrong in my life and I make a video about it,
People love that.
smashes
Yeah.
every time.
So this community.
Every freaking time. They love to see me fail. No, I'm kidding. But it is like that. You know, when you have a more sensationalist topic,
Of course.
it's just doing better.
I think that's pretty universally true across most channels.
Yeah. So I want to keep a balance.
I want to add one more thing here that is basically coming up with ideas based on numbers instead of based on, like I have inspiration to make this idea out of nowhere, or like having shower thoughts. Are there a lot of other Czech channels that you follow?
There are a couple, but nobody making content out of the U.S. So not exactly the same angle, but for example, like that girl that does videos from Australia,
From a different country.
could be like, but you can still get inspired. Like I literally got inspired from one of her
and
videos.
it worked.
And it worked.
I'm pretty sure this mathematical approach is going to work for you.
Uh-huh.
Is if you find other countries that are doing the sort of peer into the US and see what's going on, find as many of those channels as you can and look for their outliers. But I think even more here, you're just proving that you got to give videos that the people in your home country want to see. And it might not be on YouTube if there's not enough channels. You might be the only channel that's doing that. So you might consider going to somewhere like a different platform, maybe Twitter, but anywhere where you can actually talk to them and see like what are they actually interested in seeing. Like if I were from a different country, I want to know what credit cards are like, what the education system is like.
Yeah.
So like what are those other topics? And you're specifically looking for topics that people are upvoting and they're sharing with each other, because that's the data that tells you that, this is a hot topic. Whereas like if you have like, this is an interesting guy who plays a violin and is visiting the US, you can't be sure like who is upvoting that, or who is sharing that information. So that's not like as validated of an idea.
Totally.
So that's how I would look at the numbers.
Okay. So also different sources that could tell me that there's traction within certain topics.
Exactly.
But it might not be on YouTube.
This is kind of what my first diagnosis would be if you want to get like the next few videos of yours. I would even consider like the quantity play, maybe going back just to make sure you're focusing on this.
Yes.
And
so
then just
back
seeing what
to
that
bi-weekly perhaps.
You can do the double the cadence as long as the focus stays here. As long as we have a really strong thesis for, okay, this video is packaged because of XYZ.
Yeah.
It's going to do well because I have repeated this before and I found some examples.
Yeah.
If you can check those boxes, then you can make as many videos as you want.
Okay, I like that. Kind of going back to basics in a way where I definitely got carried away with just doing too many videos.
Yeah.
At a cost of the topic quality.
You're not the first. Like we struggle with this exact same problem. Like I think there's something to be said for channels that get these big growth spurts.
Yeah.
You just suddenly think, I can't make anything. Like
exactly.
Like you feel like nothing is gonna miss.
Exactly.
It's like everything I put out is like
because I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss anything for like,
like
6 months straight.
Right.
Everything I put out was a hit.
And then you just start to lose the edge. You start to get a little soft with it. You start to get a little comfortable that you think that you can't miss, and then you get humbled real quick when it does. So that happened on Koi. On Koi, like we started saying like, we can make whatever we want. We were giving them banger study tips, focus, study tips, and then we started going to like business stuff, and then like we started straying away from what was working.
Then we thought we had the Midas touch.
Yeah, we thought that. We thought we were Ali Abdal, where it's like, whatever we talk about, they're gonna come with us.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't.
He's
the
a
case.
celebrity.
No, that's definitely what happened too, because I was very confident and too confident in myself. I was like, I can talk about topics that are just not as interesting, like me and my friend going to Tijuana for the day, like, and I thought it would hit, but that's the reality is people get bored of that. You can do it once, but you can't do it like 3-4 times in a quarter
and double the cadence of it.
Exactly, double the cadence. So I like that a lot. Like, it's been humbling. Yeah.
Let's do a quick diagnostic here then about
I'm
how much time.
I'm in trouble.
How much time you spend on each
phase
Do you want to hit me with that
video
eraser?
production?
I do have a Notion page with more than 100 ideas.
Notion. Okay.
Basically, whenever I get an idea throughout the day in the shower, wherever I quickly take my phone and jot down that idea into that big pile. The truth is, though, I don't often look at that pile to like take ideas out of it. I kind of go with the flow in a way where like, okay, you know, I'm planning a trip to Dallas for a conference. I'm just going to film a video about freaking Dallas. So I think more recently on Ideation, time-wise, how much time I spend on Ideation
Yeah.
weekly, I would say 10 minutes.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. So a minute a day.
What guest can I pull in quickly this weekend so I can film the next video? Like it's
So it's 1 day a week. That's what it sounds like.
yeah, let's say it's one
One
day
day
a
a
week.
week.
Because
Okay.
I do post weekly. So
Maybe
let's
I'll
say
do it. I guess
let's
I
say
can
think about Ideation
Mhm.
1 day a week
Yeah.
for
For 10 minutes.
10 minutes
for that day.
I think that's the max.
Okay. And then I wrote inspire here because a lot of it is based on inspiration.
Mhm.
You mentioned the shower.
Sure.
You mentioned Dallas, like having thoughts about it. Yeah. So the second one is packaging.
My phase of packaging comes last, just so everybody knows. My packaging comes at the very end. It's like literally as I'm uploading, I have a slow Wi-Fi at home. So as I'm uploading, it takes an hour and a half.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, now I'll take screenshots of my video from my video and then I'll put it in Canva, add a little bit of text, change the colors slightly to make it pop a little bit more, you know, and then that's pretty much it. I at the same time I go to ChatGPT to start thinking about titles for that video. So I've already filmed it. It's literally like as I'm uploading, I'm like, okay, I go to ChatGPT. I'm like, okay, I dictate, like I interviewed like this violin player, let's say. He's the best in the country. He came here, I interviewed him, we talked about his life, ABC. What could I package this? And then so I probably spend 20 minutes on titles in that process.
Okay.
And I probably spend 1 hour on the thumbnail, on the 3 thumbnails.
Okay.
Okay.
So I pick the top 3 titles. I create 3 thumbnails and I'm a very bad designer, so they don't look very good. And it's literally just a screen grab from the video.
Screen grab. Okay.
It's an afterthought, and it's like an hour 20 minutes is kind of like
I'm just gonna
the time I spend on it, I would say.
I put this yellow line here because we're probably going to want to move this to this part of the process,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just getting the numbers down right now. Okay.
Okay. So after packaging
Yes.
is basically writing the script. So research, outline, script. I kind of just put that all into the same.
Or do you?
So I would say 90% of my videos, there's no script. 10% of the videos are those videos that we talked about where I cover a specific topic that I prepare for. And I probably spend 2 hours
Okay.
on consulting ChatGPT.
Let's call it research.
On like credit cards and making sure I have the data. I have some a good structure. So I would say about 2 hours on the script writing process. But yeah, 9 out of 10 videos are I hit record and I kind of maybe prep some questions that I want to ask my guest if I have a guest. And so that's something that probably takes me 15 minutes in the Uber ride to the filming location.
All right. So it sounds like, well, first of all, it sounds like ChatGPT is their strategist.
It is. It's been helpful. It's been helpful. Yeah.
But you mentioned there were a few videos, like 10% of your videos have a script for.
Yes.
Those are the ones that did very well, right?
True. Those are some of the outliers that we talked about. Yeah.
Got it. So you have a script. Now it's time to record the video.
Typically, I'm able to film a video within 2 to 4 hours. My goal is always to start and finish the video in the same day so that I never have to go to sleep thinking about the video. So I choose my topics or guests or things I show people on the videos in a way where I can cover that within that day. And typically it's 2 to 4 hours. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 1 hour, 30 minutes, but that's the typical range.
So after that is video editing.
Instead of 10 to 12 hours, I now probably spend less than 3 hours on reviewing the edits.
Reviews.
The way it works is that I send all the footage to my editor. I give him notes about what the video is on, the topics, the scenes, things I want him to include. And then within 2 days, they send me the first edit on Frame.io. I comment on the different things that I want them to change, add, or take away. And then they do a second edit. And typically with the second edit, it's done. Sometimes we also do a second revision. And so they send me a third edit and that's when it's always done.
We wrote 600 minutes, but is this like 1 week, 2 weeks?
1 week.
1 week.
Yeah. It never takes more than a week. So
Okay.
we're able to get the whole process done within 7 days.
Last one here is how often you spend looking at your analytics.
After I upload, I basically check analytics for the 24 hours that follow the upload, just to make sure it's not a total disaster. When more recently I've been feeling that way about every single upload because it's always a 9 or 10 out of 10, like last couple months. But so I just make sure that it's not a complete flop or there's no mistakes. And I check comments and I reply to the first, say, 50 comments. And then I kind of forget about analytics for that video and I move on and I work on the next one. So I don't go too deep and I don't spend too much time in analytics. Maybe I should.
Let's say like 10 minutes then.
Yeah.
To respond to comments and everything.
Yeah.
I would say 30, let's say,
Okay,
just because I probably do, like, I opened the studio app on my phone. I had to delete it from my phone because I would check it too often. Like,
Nice. So you do check it a lot. It's just
I check it, but I don't
Not
go
for
into
analytics.
I don't go into analytics. I just check, like, what I check.
I know you check. I know you check.
I mean, you check views, you check AdSense
revenue. Yeah. I know
That's
what you
it.
check.
Well, I would say the first thing is that if you're thinking about the 80-20 of what makes the video perform well, what would you say it is?
Well, from what we talked about, it's the topic and the idea.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. Which, as you can see, I spend the least amount of time on in the entire process.
Yeah. So I would say, so idea and packaging are the 80-20 of every video.
So that's the 80.
That's the 80. But it's not always just about the amount of time you spend, but like the intention of doing it with best practices in mind. That's why I wrote inspire here. Because you're not spending, I would say you should try to spend maybe 10 minutes a day even. But then with the 10 minutes, go for a more analytical approach rather than just pure inspiration. And then for this one, I would put packaging as your step 2. And you already thought about this, right? So put packaging as step 2.
Yeah.
And not do it as an afterthought.
Yeah.
And not do it as a screen grab. Because the thing that we learned is that if you package a video, like just conceptually, and you realize that, oh, this video doesn't seem like a banger in my head, like I would not click on this video, then most of the times you probably wouldn't go forward with doing it at all. And so you save yourself a lot of time.
True.
So that's usually why we do it first.
Is that kind of what you think about? Is like every video needs to be a banger, or it just depends on the strategy?
Yeah.
Some people say, you work on a banger video, but then you need a few filler videos to keep up a cadence, for example.
I mean, what you're doing currently is good data on what happens when you do that.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think it's a banger, then maybe your audience will too.
Yeah.
But you also like your content more.
Yeah.
So if you feel like,
Oh, that's true.
I'm just doing this just for the fact I need to do this,
Yeah.
Then it's
I've
probably
been
not
feeling
gonna-
that way for sure.
we're not going to hit with that.
recently.
But
They
yeah.
can tell. They can tell you're
Exactly.
bad, right? They're like, dude, I got comments on the last video. They're like, bro, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what did you do the night before? Like, you look like shit.
You look tired.
You look like shit.
We've gotten those same comments. They just tell you're just not passionate about it, or like you rushed it.
So for context, we brainstorm titles and thumbnails together with our team, and we kind of like think through different angles. And if we just, all three of us are not excited about it, then the video just doesn't get greenlit and it doesn't move forward.
And those would be who would be the people at the table that you talk to?
So usually you'll have the creator, whoever's on camera, whoever's telling the story, and you have the strategist, and then you'll have the producer, or some people call it the project planner.
Okay.
So those are usually people there.
Yeah.
It would be helpful to have someone like the script writer,
Yeah.
because then they know like, oh, this is the angle of the video.
No, maybe like
Too expensive.
to kind of wrap a bow on what Mike is saying here, like, yes, there's the time investment, but it's also the strategy involved in it as well. So you've probably heard of that phrase, like, work smarter, not harder.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you could spend 70 minutes inspiring yourself in the shower to come up with ideas, or you can just spend 10 minutes using an actual proven strategy like we talked about, and you're gonna get a better idea. And so all that concept applies to all of these. There's a smarter way to ideate, to script, to film, to edit, to analyze, and to package your videos versus doing it with a guess, or in a way that you're not actually you don't have a hypothesis about why this is the best way to do it.
Right.
So it's kind of like
Yeah.
meta thinking about what is the actual system that I'm building here.
Yeah.
And then once you have that in place, though, then it's so much easier to hire somebody to take that spot. It's like, oh,
You need the systems so you can delegate.
you need the result first, and then you need the system. Then you can build a system. Otherwise, like what's gonna happen is exactly what happened to you. You're gonna build a system and produce a lot of bad content. No offense.
Excuse you.
Well, you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can build a system to produce content that's not quality.
Yeah.
But make sure you get quality first, and then build a system around that.
Yeah.
This is kind of an exercise we always run through, just to make sure like we understand clearly like how am I spending my time right now, and is
like
it the
it.
best way to spend my time?
It's a wake up call for me. It is because because I really don't put any effort into the strategy. I really don't. I've always been like that. I just pick up the camera and I start filming. That's how I got to where I am. But maybe that's not how I can get to the next phase of like instead of from 100K maybe like getting to 500K. Yeah, I need to change things up.
Too, it's like what you worked on to get to where you are. If you want to level up and turn this into an actual full-time income or something, there's a whole different way you got to think about it. and build it.
Yeah.
What should be the balance of me kind of portraying my story and allowing people to see into my personal life and follow my journey here within the US versus doing the very much strategized topics that I prepare a script for and I discuss a specific topic on that I know could work very well. Because I think my audience is interested in both, or maybe it's a different type of person that's within those 100,000 that have subscribed already. Do you guys have a take on the balance of that? Because those videos are very different, right? If I talk about my breakup, it's very different than when I talk about credit cards. You know?
There's only one real answer, and it's the question I asked you earlier.
Yeah. What was that?
What is your goal?
Oh God, get out!
like seriously, like what are you trying to build? Like I haven't like that determines everything.
Yeah, I mean, views is nice to have, but what are you doing with those views?
Yeah, it's like what is your goal?
Is this therapy now or like a coaching session?
No,
I just want a lot of external validation to fill a void in my soul. Okay, is that illegal? Is that illegal?
No, I mean if that's the case, then let's just go clickbait. Let's go rage bait. Let's AI slop it, dude. Like
when I get stopped on the street, it feels good. Okay, when people
recognize,
when people recognize me, I feel better about myself.
So you'd rather be famous than rich.
Totally. Yeah, dude. Okay, so for real, there is part of that. I'm not gonna. There is part of that. I do enjoy like growing on YouTube. Like it's cool. I think at the end of the day, I do want to build a business. Like I do, and I don't know if it's possible in my current channel or my current setup and my current topic and theme of the channel. So maybe that's something we could talk about here too. But 100%, like I said, I work 9 to 5 in a corporate job, and that's cool. But if I could do this full time, that would be better.